Um, I grew up in an era where animation was awesome. And back in my era in the 80s, because I am an 80s baby, there was one cartoon that I always used to enjoy watching. And it was a cartoon where it was the defender of the universe. It was these five lions that formed a giant robot named Voltron. They would form this giant robot to fight against evil forces in the galaxy, and he would fight against giant monsters. And when he was in battle, he had a shield, which I don't have, it's broke, and he had a sword. And this right here is the die-cast version, and this is the original figure. So when he would defeat his enemies, he would just lift his hand back and he would just use his sword, and then he would raise his sword, and this is how he would win his battles. How many people know, as Christians, that we also fight a battle, and we also fight against evil forces, but these evil forces we can't see with our physical, we can't see in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm we fight against evil forces, and we fight against demons, and we fight against someone known as Satan. So just like Voltron had his sword, we have our sword, which is the word of God. And how many people know that we should read our word daily, because we also fight everyday battles? See, we're almost like Voltron in a kind of a weird way, but at the same time, we can all agree that we, just like Voltron has his sword, we have our sword, which is the word of God. And according to Ephesians chapter 6, uh, verse verse 17, verse 11, put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against rulers and against authorities and against the cosmic powers over the present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil and heavenly places. And right here, I also like this verse too. And it says right here, chapter 6 of Ephesians, verse 17 says, and take the helmet of the salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. So just like Voltron would use his sword to defeat his enemies, we use the word of God to defeat our enemies. And just remember that this sword is very powerful, because this right here is your daily bread.